Hello everyone, Nadeem here with TX Engine Works. So the last video I did with Philip, one of the questions that came up a couple of times is, well, is it just performance upgrades that causes catastrophic failures in engines and vehicles in general? So no, it's not. It's not just performance upgrades that does this. The biggest thing that we see causing catastrophic failure is lack of maintenance. What do I mean by lack of maintenance? So if we're talking about engines, the biggest thing is um, oil change, regular service, right? So oil change. The first thing is we've seen it across the board. It happens so often. There is one set of users who will or owners operators who will go with synthetic oils. So they're changing their oil, they're switching to synthetic, and then they start increasing the intervals that they do the service, that they replace this oil with. So the main thing, you can't just extend the service interval just because you're switching to synthetic. The only way you can realistically, practically do this is if you're sending in your oil for analysis. And if the analysis comes back and says, okay, the oil has not broken down, you can then start to extend your interval slowly. Every oil change, you measure it, you get it into the lab and you check it out, make sure that the oil is still good in the vehicle. And then you can extend it. Now, even if you have extended your oil change interval, make sure you're still swapping out that filter, because it's that filter that's filtering out the impurities in the oil that build up. And if you're not cleaning, replacing that filter, then you are reducing the amount of oil flow through that engine. That's one set of people that we see. They kind of understand what oils do and how they work, but they don't have a full understanding of what's really happening and what to do. So you can extend oil change interval service intervals by switching to synthetics, but only after you make sure that synthetic oil is up to the job by sending it in for oil analysis. And there are a bunch of labs out there that will do the analysis for you, and it doesn't even cost that much. It's like, I don't know, like maybe 15-20 bucks. And if you but once you get that analysis done, you can extend your oil service intervals, and then you actually end up saving money. And these labs will also give you some more insight into your engine. Just to give you an example of my truck, I have a diesel truck, and I sent it in for oil analysis just on a whim. I mean, I wasn't interested in extending service intervals. I mean, it's easy to change the oil for me. But one of the interesting things that came back was that my engine had silicates in it, which means that my engine was sucking in sand or dirt from somewhere. And had I not sent it in for analysis, I would have been still running my truck the way it was, and I probably would have destroyed the engine by now. What had happened was, there is on the turbo, there's a little resonator, and it had a leak in it. I couldn't tell. I mean, because it's on the intake side, so it's sucking in air, so you can't really tell. It's black in color, it's plastic, so you can't tell. Anyway, it's fixed. So oil analysis are a good thing to do. Now, the other type of people that we have, they are still on regular oil, and they just don't take it in. And I know some of these people, they just don't want to take it in. I mean, it's just inconvenient. Now, the car's not automatically going to blow up the day after oil change was due and you didn't get it changed. No. But what can happen is, if that car engine was going to last 200,000 miles, it may now last 100,000 miles. Yes, that's a lot of miles. But look at it this way. You've reduced the life of that engine in half. Even half of the life might be plenty, but the thing is, it's reduced in half. Not to mention, it's using more fuel. It's not running as good, as efficiently, as fast, so you don't get that get up and go that you had when the car was new. So let me show you what lack of maintenance really does to an engine. So I'm gonna show you something over here. So here I have a picture. This is an actual vehicle that came into us. So over here you notice there is something going on right there, and I'm gonna highlight it, right? So right here, you see that brake? So, and let me just zoom in a little bit. And oops, so there we go. Now that happened because of lack of maintenance. um, we knew that, we saw that. You see how that scoring is. Let me move over here again. See how that scoring is down under here? That's just lack of maintenance. So in this case, the vehicle had a catastrophic engine failure simply because of lack of maintenance. And oil changes are not that expensive, folks. And when you take your car into any place, and I'm not saying, just to us, but pretty much any place, well, most places, there are some stragglers, but most places, not only will they change the oil, not only will they change the filter, but they will also check other components of your vehicle, other components that are supposed to wear out, that you're supposed to check. So if you're not mechanically inclined and you don't want to do this yourself, I cannot stress this enough. Get it in to somebody you trust who can change the oil, the filter, and do a checkup of all different components so that any other wearable components on your car are taken care of before they result in catastrophic failure. One of the other things, big things that comes up is the brakes. So brakes is another thing. People don't care. I mean, so you're using the brakes are squeaking, and I've seen people driving around, they step on the brake and the brake is squeaking. That squeak is telling you something. That squeak is there to tell you that, hey, the rotors or the pads, something needs replacing, and you need to get it checked out. What's going to happen? Not only are you risking yourself, your vehicle, but you may end up risking other people's lives on the road. Some of these components are wearable components. Eventually they are going to wear out. It's like the human body. Things wear out, but the good thing about the human body is the body automatically heals itself. Well, cars don't automatically heal themselves. We as humans have to do that part. We have to replace these parts. So folks, stay on top of your maintenance. 5,000 miles or whatever it is. And now we at TX Engine Works, we fully support using synthetic oils because the cost differential is so low. It just doesn't make sense to use regular cheap oil. Your vehicle deserves it, especially in Texas in the heat. Just get good oil, good synthetic oil. So wherever you go, make sure it's synthetic oil. Make sure it's a good filter. There are a variety of different filters, from really cheap $10 filters to expensive $50 filters, and they are different. It's all a matter. It's not just paper that is filtering particles out of oil. It's not just that. There are bypass valves in a filter. So if the oil pressure drops, to a certain point, that the filter needs to be able to compensate. So there's a lot more going on in that little cylindrical filter that you see than what meets the eye. So folks, keep up on your maintenance, and I will see you hopefully tomorrow, and be safe out there.